All right, trying this again here. YouTube live stream went down. Let me share this over with you guys. Let's see. All right. So we got another live stream going here. Sorry about that. Something happened with YouTube. At least I think it was YouTube. My internet seems to be working fine, so not sure what happened. They just cut off the live stream. So hopefully some others will join us here. I just posted the link on the other video. And let me see. Yeah, it should alert people that I went live, so people should start streaming in. We got 7 people on here already. Let me see if I can find the questions from the other video, if they'll show it to me. I think I need to... Tina can hear me. That is good. Mr. T, what's going on? Appreciate you guys bearing with me here. I'm going to see if I can finish the questions from the last video, if I can see them here. Reputation with them. Oops. All right, go ahead, and if I haven't answered your question yet and you are on here, post the question again, because I am not even seeing the chat. Just says chat is disabled, even though chat is enabled in the options. So YouTube is having some issues right now, it seems. So yes, happy Friday, Andy. Definitely a happy Friday. That's too bad. Comments. Huh. Yeah, like everything is just gone. It might just be processing right now, maybe. Sometimes it takes a while. So go ahead, if you have questions, post them in the comments there. I'm not sure how much everyone was able to hear there. I know I did have one question in my inbox, so I'm going to jump over to that here while we wait for some people to stream back in here again. All right here. This question was from Kathy. No one talks about the very necessary but boring topic of taxes. Can you talk about how to handle the collecting and paying of state taxes? I have a resale certificate and filed my taxes, which were 0 since I have not launched yet, in my home state where my LLC is set up. Do I have to obtain a tax registration number for other states and set this up in Seller Central? Thanks again for all your time and information. So, great question, Kathy. And I appreciate you asking it. And this is an ever-changing answer. So it was not too long ago where, yes, we did have to open tax accounts all over the place. You know, wherever Amazon moved your products to, that is where you then had supposedly Nexus, and you needed to open up a tax account in that state and file taxes for that. So I use a company called TaxJar to collect all that information and file those taxes with the different states. Now, I paid for their service. It's $25 for every filing, and so they would just do it for me. Now, a lot has changed as of recently because a lot of states have been passing laws that are requiring Amazon to collect the sales taxes for you. Majority of states have that now. A few big ones like I think Florida and maybe Texas, don't have it yet, so you still have to file there. So I'm still using TaxJar to file for those states. And so you're going to have to check and see where you're getting sales. I definitely would recommend a service like TaxJar, and there's other ones out there as well, but they're going to collect all the data for you and say, okay, this is what you should probably pay for taxes in this state. And then you have to decide, remember, I'm not an accountant or anything, so take this with a grain of salt, but then you have to decide, do I want to take the time to open up a tax account with that state and pay it? Weigh your risks and decide. So if you're making a lot of sales in that state and you have to pay sales taxes, open the account there and start paying the sales taxes. But the good news is the majority of states, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So yeah, it's definitely not a fun topic, but an extremely important topic to make sure you're doing it right, especially if you're going to do this business seriously. So definitely talk with an accountant. Check out TaxJar. I believe Avalero is another one out there that you can use that can get all this information for you. So hopefully that answers that question for you. And we got some more questions rolling in here. Greetings, Mr. Magoo says, jumping on this late, is this viable for Canada? I have been researching private label, seems to have a lot of risk associated for beginners. Yeah, wholesale model is definitely possible in Canada. I've got a lot of people who I've been on coaching calls with, and a lot of people I've talked to that do this in Canada. So they do it a couple of ways. Either they sell in Canada. Now, you just have to understand the sales velocity is a lot lower in Canada, because I think Canada is like 30 million people or something like that, and the U.S. is 360 million people. So it's about 10% of the U.S. The products are different in some cases that sell well as well. So there's less of an opportunity in Canada. But what a lot of Canadians do is that they sell in the Amazon.com marketplace. And you do that using a prep center that can receive your products, get everything ready, make sure you received everything, put the labels on, put them in bags if necessary, and then ship that into Amazon for you. So that is usually how they're doing it, selling in the US market. Same goes for people living in the UK or Australia or Germany or Japan or wherever they happen to be. They're doing that the same way. So you can sell really from anywhere in the world. The tax thing is a little bit different. You got to figure that out. So talk with an accountant to make sure you're doing that properly. But it's definitely possible. And I know people who do well just selling in Canada as well. The sales are less, but the competition is less as well. So definitely a good opportunity. And wholesale is a lot less risky than private label, in my opinion. Especially a lot of the coaches and stuff out there with private label are selling still the idea that you can just find a product on Amazon, make it a little bit different, throw it up, advertise it, launch it, and you're going to be a millionaire, right? But that doesn't really work that well anymore. You really have to build a brand, build an actual business if you're going to do private label. That's what I'm doing with mine. I have a product. It sells decently on Amazon, but I've built a website. I've got hundreds of blog posts on there now that are driving traffic from Google. I'm out of stock of my product right now, so I threw up a pre-order page, and I've pre-ordered thousands of dollars worth of pre-orders in the time that I've had that up. So you want to build an entire brand if you go the private label route. With wholesale, we're selling other people's products, so it's their problem to build that brand, but we can help them sell more on Amazon potentially with exclusive agreements and things like that as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit direction and help on there. I don't want to discourage you from doing private label. Building a brand is awesome, but wholesale is my bread and butter where I'm at right now. So Andy Chen says, what would you recommend to do with the ongoing buy box algorithm changes, buy box not rotating as before? Again, I watched a video from Larry Lebowski, Watch Me Amazon, so I don't want to say this is all coming from me because I just watched it, so some of this is fresh in my mind. But he was talking about, that the very possibility that they're trying to clear out warehouses that are overstocked. And so if you have products that are not selling and you need to free up that money, you can't leave it sit there for a little while and see if it comes back. You're going to have to significantly cut your price, maybe 10% or something like that. You're just, not just a few pennies like normal. You're going to have to go $1 or 50 cents and try to get that buy box back so you can clearance that stuff out, get it into other products. Another thing that I was contemplating was maybe make a small order of that product that's not selling, create a new shipment, and see if it's going to a different warehouse than previously, and send it in and see if then it starts selling. Maybe it'll go to a warehouse that Amazon wants to sell from, and it's hard to say. You could test it out and play with it, or just clearance them out and get different products that are selling well for you. If you've got products that are selling well, focus in on that, get the money out of the products that are not moving and put them in the products that are moving, and be more cautious adding new products. I have not really had a problem because a lot of the new products that I am bringing on are products that only have FBM sellers. So I've been doing a lot of that lately where I'm the only new FBA seller, so I'm just automatically getting the buy box. So I haven't really seen the problem of new sellers coming on and not getting the buy box too much, but it definitely could be an issue. So like what we always talk about, start small. Order a small quantity, a case, 12, 24, 36, 48, whatever the smallest amount they'll let you order, and send it in, test it, and see if you start getting sales on that product or not. We're just going to have to deal with it right now until it either is fixed, if it's a bug, or we figure out more about it. It'd be nice if Amazon would come out and say something. These are the kind of things that are really irritating when it comes to selling on Amazon. They are not very good at communicating sometimes. And this is just one of those cases where we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out for us. Prod, hello. Thanks for joining us. No, I'm not going to sing for you. I do not have a very good singing voice. I don't think anybody would want me to hear me singing. Let's see. Miss Cat, I rebooted my computer. Sorry if you answered my question. I missed it. The IPI and the new limit. Is it 200 ASIN units or cubic feet? I've read conflicting info on various Facebook groups. So yes, I did answer that, but we were having live stream issues. I think it was on YouTube's end because it kind of just stopped for everybody, even though my internet was still working and stuff. So I will answer that one again in case it did not pick it up for the replay. So yeah. I am not 100% on the 200 ASIN limit, but I have not seen that yet myself. But what I do know for sure is that they're going to limit the quantity. So on a lot of my products, the limit I can send in on an ASIN is 200 units, but it's going to be severely limited. You might only be able to send in 5 or 10 or 15, and you're going to have a cap of how many you can actually send in for, because you're already overloaded. That's why they're limiting you, because you have not done a good job on handling your inventory that's currently in Amazon. So there's two things. Either you have old inventory that's not selling, and so you need to take advantage of the free removals to get that out of there, or you have a lot of listings that you haven't restocked and are out of stock, and Amazon thinks you should restock them. So what you're going to want to do, since tonight I believe is the cutoff, we're recording this on July 31st, go into your inventory performance and go to the restock page, and anything that's out of stock just remove that notice from there and then go into your inventory and disable or close that listing. And so from what I've read is by doing that, that will help bump your score up and hopefully get you above that 500 threshold. And I actually tested this, and I did see my score go up. It took a day before the score changed, so there could have been other factors, but I tested it out with some products, and my score did go up some. I think my score is like at 570 or something like that. So if you're below 500, you need to do everything you can right now to get that up before the cutoff, and so that you can send in enough products, because otherwise, who knows what else they might do. If your IPI score is not good, maybe they're not going to give you the buy box, if your IPI score is low because you're not managing your business properly the way that Amazon wants you managing it. So do whatever you can to get that fixed. Hopefully that answers that question for you. Let's see. Anthony says, do you anticipate it taking some time for new sellers to make money due to the buy box glitch, or can new sellers be successful immediately? It depends on the ASIN. Not every ASIN is having this buy box, glitch or feature or whatever it ends up being here. So you're going to have to test small orders, like I mentioned, and see what happens when you get that product in there. I wouldn't let this hold you back. You're making those small orders anyways, so still move forward. I mean, you're going to kick yourself 6 months from now if you didn't take action now. So don't let this buy box issue stop you from getting started if you're just starting. Just use caution. Make those small orders, send them in, see how it goes. If they sell, then reorder more. If they don't sell, clearance them out, get your money back, and try a different product and save that product for the future, because eventually, hopefully, this will be sorted out and you'll be able to get rotated back in. Let's see. Ahmed, my question about selling wholesale internationally. Do you sell globally? What do you think of it? And do you recommend a specific market? So I do sell in Canada and a little bit in Mexico. I actually have product in Canada. Mexico, I just utilize the remote fulfillment service that Amazon provides for North America, and I get some sales from that there. So, if you're in the U.S., I would recommend testing out Canada and see how it goes and see if you can get some sales there. If you're whatever country you're in, I would start there though. So if you're in the UK or you're in, Saudi Arabia, or you're in Australia, or you're in Japan, start in that local market, get your feet wet, learn it, and then move to other markets. Obviously, the U.S. is the biggest market for Amazon, but they're growing and moving into a lot of different places. So test out the markets. That's pretty much what you have to do with everything and see how it goes. And now with the Brexit thing with United Kingdom, the whole European issue is happening where you're not going to be able to fulfill from the UK to the rest of Europe like you were before unless they come up with some agreements. So it's an ever-changing platform. You got to keep that in mind. You always have to be learning. I can teach anybody how to sell on Amazon, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful if you don't have a entrepreneurial mindset where you're always learning, you're always gaining new knowledge, you're always trying new things, always growing as a person, expanding your mind, expanding your knowledge, and things like that. You always have to be doing that regardless of what business that you're in. All right, let's see. Timothy says, sorry, can you explain the rotation of the buy box again with FBA and FBM? It glitched bad. So FBA, FBM, FBA pretty much always gets the buy box over FBM, except for a little while FBM was getting it over the top of FBA. because Amazon was overloaded. So, and that could happen again in the future. We'll see what happens for fourth quarter as sales ramp up. But typically FBA gets the buy box over FBM unless FBM is like 10% or more lower price than FBA. And then price is important. You know, if both sellers are FBA, price is going to play a factor. Previously, if you undercut by like a penny, you'd get the buy box. Now it's not rotating as much right now. Seller feedback is really important as well. If your seller feedback is below like 85% positive, that can start removing you from the buy box as well. So you want to increase the feedback. And one of the things that we've heard about this new buy box issue is that potentially it's skewing towards people who have a lot of feedback and a lot of positive feedback, because Amazon can then be more assured that you are a good seller. So lots of issues or lots of things that go into the buy box, but those are the main things for it. Let's see. Ahmed says, for the U.S. market, what do you consider is too many sellers on specific products? In other words, if more than 3 or 4 sellers. So it's not really the number of sellers, but the number of sales you're going to get. So whatever tool you're using to guesstimate sales, if it's Jungle Scout and Jungle Scout says that the listing is getting 200 sales, you know, and there are 9 other sellers on the listing, you're going to be the 10th. That means you might get around 20 sales per month. So what's your profit on that? If you're making $10 profit per item, that's $200 profit per month. Is it worth the effort for you to send in that product at $200 profit? You know, everybody's going to be different. If you're a big seller, it might not be. If you're a small seller just getting started, you probably would be happy with that. So you need to focus on that more than the number of sellers, is the number of sales that you will potentially get of that product every month, keeping in mind that the number of sellers will fluctuate. It trends up usually, but sometimes it will go down as well. So you got to keep that in mind also. All right. Is there a book that you recommend for people to read while they are building their wholesale business, maybe for help to build confidence when speaking over the phone? So there are no like really good Amazon books. For speaking over the phone, you really just want to read some of the top sales books. So if you go to Amazon and search for sales books or phone sales, and just look at the top rated books, the best-selling books, and start reading those. I just did one recently, and I'm forgetting the name of it. Let me see if I can pull it up here quick while I'm going over it. But I interviewed about the book, and right now I am drawing a blank. Let me see here. But yeah, you just need to do some reading and then get testing and actually doing it. Nothing beats experience. You can read a million books, but nothing is going to beat experience. So Frank Soma was the sales professional that I interviewed, and his book was B2B is really P2B. So the letter B, the number 2, the letter B is really P2P, and that stands for business to business, is really person to person. That book was really good. I liked it a lot, so I definitely recommend that one. Check that one out, but also look at some of the other top sales books that are out there. If you go to entrepreneuradventure.com and click on resources, I've got some other books at the bottom of that page as well that I have found really helpful. Some of them are more like mentality books, like mindset and things like that. But you can check those out also if you're looking for some books to read. All right, guys, so we're coming up on where I need to cut this off here. I actually have product in the back. My father-in-law is helping me prep some products back there, so I need to get back there. So we're going to cut it off here at the question that Andy Chen just asked. So once I get to there, we will be done. I won't be taking any more. Let's see, where was I at though? Let's see, Mr. Magoo, not sure if you have a course or not. What resources/courses would you recommend for a beginner? I have everything set up, including U.S. bank accounts, professional accounts, incorporated, etc. So YouTube is a really good option for finding free content. There's a lot of good free content out there. I am going to be coming out with a webinar, as I talked about earlier, for analyzing a listing and analyzing the Keepa graph in depth to determine if a product is worth buying, so you can be more confident in buying it, where we check out the history and kind of project that into the future. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Make sure you're on my email list. You can sign up for that on entrepreneurventure.com. And I'll post a link in the video here as well when I have that webinar coming out. But you can definitely check that out. Larry Lebowski, Watch Me Amazon, has a really good course, the Wholesale Academy. It is a couple $1,000s, so it's definitely not cheap, but there's a lot of really good content in there. I bought that when that comes out because you don't know what you don't know, and I learned a lot of really good info from that. But otherwise, there's a lot of other FBA and Amazon gurus and stuff out there that I've interviewed. So go through some of the interviews, like Mommy Income, if you're looking at bundles and things like that. But otherwise, just stay tuned. I'm going to be coming out with some stuff very shortly that you guys will be able to purchase to help you do better in Amazon and wholesale and things like that. So stay tuned for that as well. Anthony says, I appreciate all your advice. I appreciate you for watching, Anthony. Ahmed says, friend of mine has a brand, has local stores in our state, and it's successful, but knows nothing about Amazon and asked me to sell it for him on Amazon, but it's in a high competition product. Should I? I don't know if I can answer that question for you. It's kind of up to you. How much work is your friend willing to put into it, and how much is he willing to pay you for doing it? If he's able to pay you, an amount for doing it, maybe you can come to an agreement on that. Or if you see a potential in it and you think you can get it selling, maybe you can come to an agreement on a percentage of profits. If you split profits on Amazon or something like that, you just have to make sure it's going to be worth your time. I know you said it's your friend and you always want to help your friends and stuff like that, but you have to make sure it's worth your time and effort, because if you're doing that for him, you're not going to be able to do other things. So you'll have to come to an agreement. I would recommend having some kind of partnership agreement in place, even though you are friends. Crazy things have happened, and business can cause, and money in general can cause, a lot of friction and issues. So you want to have everything clear and in place, exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, how much you're going to get paid for doing it, so everyone knows exactly what's going on. There's no surprises, and nobody can get upset or on anything. And if anybody does get upset, you can say, well, this is what we agreed to. This is what's going on. That's why I did it. But, I can't answer that for you. You're going to have to figure that out. But analyze it and figure out if it's an opportunity that makes sense for you. Let's see. Chris says, do you ask for discounts on your first order on a new account, or do you buy at normal price and try to profit? So I always ask, pretty much always. Occasionally, if it's a brand that I am wanting to improve the listings and I'm going to be the only FBA seller, I don't ask for a discount up front. But otherwise, usually I ask it very passively, like, hey, do you have any order quantities that allow me to get additional discounts on top of the price on your price sheet, and see what they say. You don't want to push really hard up front, but it's worth asking kind of in passing almost, like I'll get the wholesale list, I'll analyze it, and then I'll ask, do you guys have any price levels that I can get additional discounts, or order quantities that I can get additional discounts on it? I'll even go through the whole list and maybe do like a 20% off or whatever, or find the products that are selling well that I potentially want to order, how many I think I can order per month, and then say, this is what I'd like to order. What's the best pricing you can give me on an order of this size, and see what they say. It's normal in wholesale to ask for discounts, especially from distributors and bigger brands. So they're kind of expecting that. So it's okay to ask, just don't push really hard until you've built that relationship out. Let's see. Chris asks again, do you find most of your profitable items from distributors or brands? Both. Some of my biggest orders are from distributors, and some of my biggest orders are from brands. Typically, my brand orders are smaller than my distributor orders, but it varies. So it kind of goes back and forth. Let's see. And the final question here from Andy. How is your warehouse going? What was the biggest challenge finding your current warehouse? So far, so good. It's going well. I'm starting to get some processes in place. My software, Restock Pro, which is really good for when I had the prep center, because they have really good forecasting and ability to track all your inventory, and syncs with Amazon and everything. So that part's really good. But they're really lacking in the warehouse management side of it. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Looking through other software, seeing if I need to switch or what. But we've got a nice workflow going down. The products come in, I receive them in, and then they get prepped, go on the shelves, and once a week usually we're doing a big shipment into Amazon and sending it all in. So far so good. In terms of finding it, it wasn't too bad. I just used, what website was it? Actually, I found the most on our local classified website. So here, that's ksl.com for in the Utah area. I found a lot of really good ones on there. Otherwise, there's a business website, warehouse space. Let me just search that. It should be one of the top results. LoopNet, loopnet.com. Found a bunch on there, and I just went and visited them, and then got a hold of the person who was renting it, checked them out, went inside, see if it worked for me. If it did, after I found a few, then I negotiated the rent. I got a $100 discount off of what they were asking for it on the rent, and just did that. It worked pretty smoothly. I had a lot of opportunities here in the Provo, Utah area where I live. There's a lot of warehouse space. And with everything going on right now, you probably have a better opportunity to even get a discount from the rent that they're asking for as well. So overall, good. I like being in the warehouse because I get to see more of my products. Everything before was going to the prep center, which is fine. If you want to do that model, it worked for me for a long time. But getting the products in my hands, being able to maybe take new pictures of them, see them, it just seems more real for me. And I've also found new products because of that. I've actually had some products shipped to me by mistake from a distributor and added those to my inventory. And it's more easy for me to do the tests. I can send them to the warehouse, check out the products, and see what kind of opportunities there is. So far, so good. All right, so that is about it. That wraps up this live. I really appreciate you guys out there listening and supporting me in this entrepreneur adventure that we're all in, and helping me grow the channel, share it. I would really appreciate you guys sharing this out to anyone that you think is interested in this. Share the podcast, whatever the case may be. But thank you for being a part of my adventure that I've got going on here and helping me grow it. Again, stay tuned for that Keepa webinar that I'm going to be doing. I think you guys would all get a lot of information out of that. So if you're not on the email list already, head on over right now to entrepreneuradventure.com. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's a little form. You can jump on that email list, and you will be sure to get notified when that comes out. Because the way I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to be doing the live stream of the webinar for free, but then it's going to become a little like paid micro course. So you're going to want to be on the live stream for that. Again, appreciate everybody out there for everything, entrepreneuradventure.com. And other than that, Todd Welch signing off. Happy selling, everybody.